Welcome to Hair of the Werewolf. I am Chase, and I'm here with my co-host, Lily.
Hey, guys.
We are a supernatural horror podcast where we tell each other stories that are allegedly true. Sometimes we have a little drink or something to help make it a little more fun for us, and we hope you join us if you're feeling up to it as well. Now, I can say, at the beginning of this episode now that it's official, me and Lily finally bought a house.
Woohoo! And we're moved in.
Which is why it sounds terrible right now.
We're sorry.
So our house looks more like the storage facility from the end of Indiana Jones right now than it does an actual home, which means our recording room is also pretty darn bare, which is why you might hear a slight echo right now. So this is a temporary thing. We are fixing it. We're going to get it all better sounding and everything. We didn't get lazy, so don't freak out.
No, not yet.
And if this is your first episode, I promise all the other ones sound better. and upcoming, they will as well, so don't
Except
freak
for
out on
that
us.
first episode. I don't know what happened there.
But I do think there's something important we need to tell our viewers about our house. We can safely say that there's a dead body under the house.
Ooh, that's right.
Don't worry, it's not what you guys think, even though I'm glad it's not like that. So we had an inspector come out and put a video scope into the vents to see what condition they were in. And when we reviewed the video, right in the middle of the house, because this house is on a slab, right in the middle in the vents, there is a big, giant, dead lizard just sitting there.
Okay, giant is a little exaggerated.
All right,
It's one of those tiny lizards that we see all the time.
Okay, so it was like the scope going down there is really tiny, so the
It
lizard
looked
looked like
big.
it was towering over the video.
Yeah.
I like to think that there's a dinosaur under the house.
For sure.
So, and it would take a lot of money and effort to actually get the lizard out of there, so it's pretty much going to live down there. So I hope it was a happy lizard and had a happy life, because
We don't want a haunting of a lizard.
I don't want to wake up feeling like there's a lizard ghost crawling over me.
Ew. That would be so creepy.
But anyway, so I once again apologize for the audio quality this week, possibly next episode as well.
I can guarantee it.
We're going to rush our best to fix the issue, but it takes a little while. So just bear with us. The stories are still awesome, and we are still awesome. It's just the echo sucks.
That's all right. We are going to make it work.
It also explains why we didn't have an episode last week, because with all the moving and everything, there wasn't enough time.
No.
So,
and we always want to make sure that we have something good for you guys. We don't want to half-ass anything.
exactly.
So
if
here
we're
we
gonna make
are.
an episode, it's going to be the kind of thing we want to listen to. So
Yeah. Okay.
Which is today.
Yeah, exactly. Which is today. So let's figure it out. I guess I'll go first as tradition.
As is tradition.
All right, let me
So
get it.
everyone can turn off the episode when you're done talking.
Yeah,
right. Before Chase gets on, click.
Or they're like, all right, she's going to be on about 30. Let's skip. All right, let's see. So my story for today is of the Indiana State University. So that is a university, obviously, in the United States. I know sometimes breaking it down is weird, but we have people from outside the country listening in. So anyway.
I mean, college is scary. So.
It is scary. So already there, finals, terrifying. But yeah,
I was thinking more tuition costs, but
oh, right. Yeah. I forgot about that too. You don't have to think about that until you're incredibly dead at the end, so that's fine. So my story actually came from this kind of page a day calendar that I purchased recently. It's called That You Saw and I Really Wanted.
All right, so quick story time.
Oh, Lord.
There's these catalogs that, if you're lucky, they'll come to your house and they're called bargain books, where it's like surplus books and they're sold really, really cheap.
I'm sure you can just request that they
Oh,
deliver.
yeah, I'm sure you can. And you can find
It's not a luck of the draw.
You can find the website as well, but
Yeah.
it's something my dad always did, is he would go through these and buy us crazy books that we didn't even know existed, and I decided it was my time to go through the catalog, and I found this horror story a day calendar thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is perfect for us. And
It is perfect.
It's already paid itself off, because it was like $5, and the first story since you got it is from it. So.
Yeah, so it's called A Year of a Ghost Stories. If you're interested in purchasing this yourself, it's by the company Working Publishing. They're also on Amazon, so you can just look it up there.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, so also have a true crime one. So if you're more into that, I'm actually thinking about doing that next year, but
I'm
we'll see.
embarrassed to say I've been getting more into true crime just because of my research on this show, because I'm realizing some stuff. I'm like, ooh, I like this. It's not horror, though.
No,
So-
I love true crime. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, but you do the true crime stuff that's icky.
Well, I do it all. So
I don't like the icky
here we are. Anyway, so that's where my story came from. And specifically, this was the story that showed up on January 12th. and it was called Barfing Barb.
Barfing Barb, huh?
Yep, Barfing Barb is what the Indiana State University students call her.
Nice.
So, yeah, and throughout the research, I also found that there are other stories on campus. So she's not the only one, but that is what got me into it.
Can I take a guess?
Yes.
Just judging by the name and saying university, I'm assuming she haunts the sororities.
Ooh, good guess, but not quite there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. On the fourth floor of Burford...
Third floor of Barfafoff.
Oh my god, I can't say this word. Burford?
Buford?
Well, no, because there's an R. Burford.
That is hard. My guess,
Burford?
a guess, is Burford.
Buford?
Burford? Man, it sounds like I have a speech impediment. I'm like,
Burford.
Going down to Burford.
Okay, let me try that again. On the fourth floor of Burford Hall, I think that's how you say it, it's said that a barfing ghost haunts the bathrooms. And this is her story. Barb was a freshman who attended the university. During her time there, she lived at Burford Hall, which is, to this day, is a dorm that mostly houses freshmen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think that's how it always has been, too.
Always the worst dorms are the freshman dorms.
It totally is. Now, looking at pictures of the dorm, it does look like it's been updated since Barb's time. And but there isn't anything spectacular about it. It's your basic dorm, like any other one that you see. You know, you share a room. Each dorm room has its own bathroom, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Now, back in Barb's time, though, students used to have a communal bathroom on each floor. So now it's different, even the architecture. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So, yeah, anyway. One night when she went out with her friends to a party where she had lots and lots of alcohol, at one point in the night, she managed to stumble her way back to the dorm rooms, but only made it as far as the bathrooms. Witnesses commented that they did hear someone getting sick that night, but ignored it and went about their business because, well, this would have been the first time they heard someone barf in the bathroom. Now, what wasn't common is that they did not expect, when walking into the bathroom that morning, they would find someone dead by the toilet.
Oh.
Barb had died of alcohol poisoning.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's super messed up. And so ever since that year, students assigned to that floor have reported the following hauntings: toilets flushing on their own, vomiting sounds in the bathroom all the way down the hall because they're so loud, screaming, and then agonizing moans along with it, and then hearing an evil laugh, which I'm like, is that still Barfing Barb, or you guys got another ghost in there? Because I don't understand the association there. This one's weird. Finding your dorm room door unlocked in the morning. And then also, she will turn off your alarm clocks. That one seems like a bit of a... like, oh, it's just Barfing Barb. That's why I was late to class.
All right, so I want you to go through them all one at a time, and I'm going to tell you my theories.
On which... what do you mean?
So start with every single type of haunting, and I'll tell you what I think.
Okay, toilets flushing on their own.
Automatic toilets do that all the time.
Well...
I'm not worried about that one.
No. So now each dorm room has their own bathroom. The communal bathrooms are gone.
Oh, okay.
But people are still hearing
understand.
these sounds coming from the hallway.
Okay. So like individual bathrooms, and so that one is weird. All right, next one.
Okay, vomiting sounds in where the bathroom would have been or down the hall. Now, I guess there could be vomiting people all the time.
I bet there's a lot of vomiting students, but you just said they're in their own rooms now with their own bathrooms, so okay, that's weird.
Yeah. Screaming. I mean...
that's never good to hear in a dorm.
It never is.
All.
Agonizing moans.
If you see at least one door with a sock on the doorknob, I'll take that one.
Yeah. Hearing an evil laugh.
Yeah, that one's weird.
That one's weird. Now, finding your dorm room unlocked.
That one, I'm not... I was an idiot when I was in college, and I would forget to lock things. It just happens. That one doesn't weird me out.
See, that would have weirded me out because I never forget to lock a door. Turning off alarm clocks.
Oh, well,
I think we all just forget to do that.
Absolutely. That's a good excuse to go to your professor and be like, I'm sorry I'm late for the test. Barfing Barb turned off my alarm clock.
Pitch. So the time of the day that this would usually occur, well, not day, I should say. It usually happens at night. Sometimes in the evening, it'll start up, but if it was going to happen, it's usually like in the middle of the night. Now, some people say that it could be like a replay of the actual incident, like those residual hauntings.
Yeah.
But it does seem like Barb is aware of her surroundings because of the accounts that I was able to find of personal stories. So
Really?
let me tell you some of those. Now, I was able to look into the University Folklore Archives, and this one was told by a resident assistant in 1992. They said, I had an encounter with Burford ghost one night about 2:30 to 3 a.m. It was on a Friday night. I was in my room doing some homework and I went to the restroom. I heard someone sounded like throwing up in the restroom. As I was walking to the restroom, when I opened the door, I did not hear anything at all. I went ahead and went to the bathroom and was getting ready to head out and close the door. As I was opening the door, I heard the throwing up again. So I shut the door and went to get a drink. He's like, no, I'm out. I went back to see if anyone needed help or if everything was cool. I looked underneath the stall and I did not see any feet there. It seemed really weird, so I proceeded to go back to my room. As I got outside, I heard the barfing again. I never saw anyone in the bathroom. So that's just kind of like your standard haunting with her.
Absolutely.
Now, this one is another one from the Indiana State University Archives, and this one's from 1969. Now, I was paraphrasing this one because it was quite long. So the story mentions that there was a ghost that fall on the 4th floor. The ghost activity was unpredictable, but it was most common at night when everyone was asleep. After enough girls swore they heard the ghost, more and more would try to stay awake. So it kind of became a thing for them.
Oh, yeah, to try to detect it.
Oh, yeah. Some girls would be too scared and actually push their furniture against the door. When they would wake up, their doors would be unlocked. So that's where that came from 1969.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I can see in that specific situation when they were obviously trying to keep something out, they would have been adamant about having it locked. So
and
then finding it unlocked would have been
that would have been very
thing.
alarming. And also, I don't know if in 1969 they would have had like those automatic doors, because I've been to the dorms before, and when you close the door, they lock behind you automatically. So this would have been more creepy and more likely to occur. The girls on the 4th floor commented that the ghost typically did 3 things in sequence. 1, let out a hideous laugh. 2, vomit in the bathroom. And then 3, hearing the flushing sounds. So that's the pattern that the girls were staying awake to find out who this person was.
Yeah.
Would do this always in 3s. So that was interesting.
Oh, and things in 3s, it's a common ghost thing.
Common ghost thing.
Now, the question is when they're throwing up, do they throw up 3 times?
Ooh. Demonic vomit. Oh my god.
So if they laughed 3 times, threw up 3 times, and then what was the last one again? Remind me. The last thing they did?
Oh.
They laughed, they vomited, and then they
flushed.
So if they flush 3 times, laugh 3 times, vomit 3 times, doesn't that make it 666?
Ooh.
So I've been watching a lot of movies.
Yeah, we're just trying to find the meaning behind barfing.
I'm just trying to prove to people that I can do simple math.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. So that's the story for Barfing Barb. Now, these are the other stories I was able to find that is also haunting the university.
Oh, so Barfing Barb isn't the only story.
So Barfing Barb was just like my gateway. So I didn't even know. I thought I was just going to do a story on her, and I was hoping it was going to be long enough, but it turns out it didn't matter because Indiana State University is super haunted.
Man, lucky for that school to have so many things, because most colleges would be fortunate just to have Barfing Barb. So
they would have just been grateful for the
like,
Barfing Barb.
We got the Barfing Barb. It's like, oh, that's you.
Oh, that's you.
I was wondering where she was.
Yeah. I love when your accents are
terrible and come out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh. Anyway. So the next story is the old lady Burford.
Isn't that the same as the...
No.
That's
dorm? Yeah. So this is also in that hall.
Oh, okay.
On the building. So Barfing Barb was only on the 4th floor. This one, she seems to be like all over the place. Yeah. So this ghost is of Charlotte Burford, which is who the building is named after. Charlotte was a dean of the female students for 44 years and had a reputation of being incredibly strict and had 0 tolerance for any shenanigans. She was so dedicated to her work and to keep these young ladies in check, that she is still roaming the halls, even after death.
Well, she did a terrible job with Barfing Barb.
Yeah, it's just like, damn it.
So she just sucks at her job.
Yeah, well, she was out that day. Whenever
Out cold.
Out cold. She was also at that party. Whenever a student gets a glimpse of old lady Burford, she will always have a stern look on her face, always disapproving. Especially these days, because Burford Hall is now co-ed. I can only imagine what she thinks about that, but whatever.
Sounds sexy.
So now we know where those agonizing moans come from. So also, there's a portrait of Charlotte hanging in Burford Hall, and many students agree that passing by the picture gives them goosebumps. So even claim to have seen her eyes move and follow them when they walk by. So there's like this whole like thing about it, and
interesting.
They get really creeped out by the picture. So that's old lady Burford. Now here is this is just like a really fun one, but I had to include it. So there is a legend that there is a statue on campus. Now the idea is if a virgin graduates from ISU, then the statue will raise her arms in the air in triumph. I'm just going to say that the statue has never moved. So we're still waiting.
That sounds like a really messed up thing that like some punk frat guy came up with.
Know.
Where he's like, of course you need to have sex because no virgins graduate from here because there's this legend that this will raise its hands. Never done it.
Do you really want a statue to come to life?
Do you want to be the first person? The first virgin?
Well, I don't think the statue points at the virgin. It just kind of raises her arms.
She's like raised the roof. She's like, yeah, finally got one out.
Oh my God.
This says a lot about the sad state of affairs of college education.
I just love that one. Okay, so here's another one. So on the 12th floor, and this is on Cromwell Hall, a totally different building, in somewhere in the mid-1990s, room 1221 to be exact, a student was pushed out the window and died. The circumstances I was not able to find, but it does seem like this actually did occur.
Okay.
Now, soon after the incident, a cross appeared on the side of the building. When administrators noticed the cross, they asked their maintenance workers to remove it, which they did the next day, but then people noticed it returned. It's still there.
Wait, it's still there?
Yeah, so I went to look at pictures and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll find it. Maybe it's something that is gone now, whatever. But no, so when I looked it up, it is located underneath a window on the 12th floor. So it's presumed that's the window that he fell out of.
How big is this cross?
It's not that big. I mean, maybe it's as wide as like the small window that's underneath it.
Oh, so it's only like a couple feet.
Maybe.
I was picturing something that was like 2 stories tall, and I was like, man, they're gonna get rid of that.
No, so to me it looked like it was kind of etched on the brick.
Oh, okay.
Or it's like white spray paint that has since faded a little bit. But yeah, so to this day the room is kept empty, but people still claim to hear banging sounds coming out of there and lights flickering in the room. There have also been students who say that they see a shadowy figure standing in front of the window. Confused, they assume that it's now being occupied, but they would always later find out that there's still no one there.
That's the crazy room?
That's the crazy room. Now, also on the 12th floor, students will also say that they hear footsteps behind them when they're alone, walking down the hall. That one's creepy because that's how the student, I imagine, fell out of the window, someone walking behind him and then being pushed. So I don't know if he's like kind of trying to scare you and being like, I'm going to push you too.
You know how it feels now, bro.
Yeah. Now in Drazer Hall, I don't know how to say that. Drazer Hall, which is a theater building, is haunted by a former theater student who the students today call Karen. Now, I think it was kind of supposed to be like rude about that. Yeah. Now, Karen currently haunts the theater because she was never able to graduate. One article mentioned that she had tragically died in a car accident just before she was about to graduate. I guess it's just one of those unfinished business situations, but I'm not sure. It could be that Karen loved theater so much that she refused to leave even in the afterlife, which is another theory. She just loved it there. Now, here are the hauntings that people experience in the theater. Lights will flicker whenever she's bored. Karen likes to flicker lights on opening nights, just before the performance. When current theater students are working in the lighting booth, Karen will sometimes be felt hovering over and subtly making corrections during rehearsal and performances. And they'll feel like her coldness on them.
Interesting.
Yeah. Aside from students, other people who work at the building have also felt uneasy. They would hear footsteps going up and down the stairs. They would also hear knocking on the door. And when they go investigate, of course, there would be no one there. Now, there is a new theater building that's been since built, and now it's the main one. So current students have to deal with their hauntings less and less every year. But people still use that other one, for, I don't know if it's just like for smaller plays or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
But it's not as common. But people still feel her there. So it's not, I don't know if it's because it's old and whatnot, but.
That's crazy.
I don't know. Yeah.
So I almost think like maybe you'll have a director of a play, he'll go and he'll flicker the lights real quick because it's like, it's good luck, it's an omen, we have to do it.
Oh, well, now we have to do it. Yeah, I wonder. Well, because like a lot of people get really superstitious, with sports and and theater and whatnot.
Thespians are infamously superstitious.
Mm-hmm. So here's another one, and this is actually my last one for the university. This is kind of a really fun one as well. In 1888, there was a massive fire on campus that destroyed the original massive ICU building. I believe it might have been the only building at the time as well. That wasn't the fun part, but what it's referring to is that today there is a plaque on campus that commemorates the reconstruction of the school. When you look at the plaque, you see there's a grammatical error. The idea is if you're able to find the error and you touch it with your hand, then you gain the energy and support from past ISU alum to help you pass your next exam. In one article, I read someone describe it as, quote, by the law of contagious magic, end quote, which is now how I'm going to refer to like anything like that in the future.
The law of contagious magic?
Yeah.
I have a feeling if you have a bunch of students touching that thing every single day, there's a different kind of contagious you're going to deal with. All you need is one student with the flu to just like go up there and rub it for good luck, and then you have like 20 students with the flu.
Look, just carry on some Purell, you're fine, all right? But yeah, so the grammatical error, in case anyone's curious, is it has an apostrophe when it shouldn't have an apostrophe. Oh, yeah, because it's not it is. Yeah, exactly. Now, I did find some personal stories on people who used to go to ISU, and here are some of them. This one's from Unknown. Unfortunately, there's no name. They said...
I believe everywhere.
I believe it. I live in Burford Hall as a freshman in 1994 through 95, and I worked at a Pizza Hut in the Hunan Memorial Student Union, which closed at midnight. One night after closing and arriving back to the hall around 1 a.m., I went to the bathroom to wash my face and brush my teeth before bed. After a moment, I heard a woman vomiting and crying. I stopped and called out, "Are you okay?" No answer. I went over by the stalls and pushed each door open, looking in, and no one else was in the bathroom. I left. So that's them. This one's J.E., initials only here. I attended Indiana State from 2007 to 2012. I live in Burford Hall, which is next to Cromwell. I remember the cross on the side of the building and even facilities and ground crew trying to remove it, and it would always return.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. I had several friends who lived in Burford who would hear the girl in the bathroom. It would really freak out the students who lived on that floor. So that's another. Now this one is from TT. That's another initial. I went to State 2004 to 2009. I lived in Bloomberg as well, freshman year anyway. I heard a story of a freshman girl who committed suicide because she found out she was pregnant. You could hear the sounds of a baby crying late at night on the 7th floor, which is now a common area, and random phones ringing. Also the cross on the side of the Cromwell, and has been there for years. I doubt it'll go anywhere. So I didn't get anything else from the woman. I think that might be just another like lore or something on campus. Yeah. But I wasn't really able to find anything else aside from that. So
I mean, they have enough ghost stories.
They have enough. So I don't know if that was a popular one. So this one's Kaylee. She says, the Quad and Jones Hall are super haunted. I currently attend ISU and going into my junior year. Jones is haunted by a spirit, Michael, who died from elevator hopping, drunk. Is that a thing? What is that?
I have no idea.
Okay. I was like, am I missing out? Anyway.
I don't think you are.
No, I'm not.
Death is a common result.
No, I'm just saying, like, what's happening here? She just said it so casually, like elevator hopping. She said,
is that when people jump when an elevator's going down? Because the elevators are designed to be safe enough that won't be a problem.
I don't know. Maybe. She says, honestly, during my stay in the dorm freshman year, I was freaked out because I heard knocking on my door when no one was there. And I would always hear footsteps on the top of the elevators when I was alone. It was creepy, but let's not forget the quads. At the quads, my sophomore year, I heard laughter and footsteps that weren't there when I was alone. I moved out of the quads midway because it was so bad that I felt someone touching my feet and pulling my blankets off. Never had anything experienced like that. So it just seems like there's a lot of different ghostly things happening. Now, I don't know if any stories are associated with the ones that they're trying to tell, but at the very least, what we do know is that the university is haunted and
everyone's spooked.
And everyone's really, they're kind of like on edge with all these stories. And I don't know, I find it very interesting. Now, there is a ghost walk that you can take. I forgot to look up if that is public or just for students. I'm not sure. But I was able to see some videos of people.
Like, unless they're checking student IDs, we can go there as long as we don't look like 50.
Right. They're like, they can be here probably.
They're like, we need to see your ID, sir.
Yeah, I don't know who it's available for, but there was some videos, and that's how I was able to see, like, the cross on the side and some of the other sites. I saw the plaque. I saw the statue that is supposed to raise its hands, things like that. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool.
Did it look like she was ready to raise the roof?
Nah, she looked pretty bored.
Nothing but a bunch of sluts around me.
I know. It's like, I'm never going to move. Oh, my God. Anyway, yeah. So that's my story for today. I hope you liked it.
Nice. I feel like maybe I picked the wrong university to go to. Because I don't think UNM's haunted. I mean, the only thing we're haunted by is that, like, mostly naked, creepy guy with leather skin who walks around all the time. But he's alive, I think.
Yeah.
He's just dead inside.
That weird. Is he, though? He looks like he's living life his own way. Yeah, I think UNM might be haunted. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So I do remember people talking about, so there's these tunnels all under UNM.
Oh, that's right.
And I've seen them, and I've been able to, like, step into the tunnels before because they were doing maintenance, and one of the access points is at the center of the universe statue.
Well, every time I walk through that, I would be able to see it through the crate, like through the grates, I mean. I
don't think that actually goes down into the tunnels. There's a tunnel access about, like, 10 feet to the southeast.
Oh, okay.
Of there that it's got a ladder, and it goes down.
Why were you down there?
Oh, well, me and three guys, like, they were doing maintenance, and there were no maintenance guys, so we decided to just crawl down the ladder and take a look. And then we ran back up because we don't want to get in trouble. We were all scaredy cats.
And also ghosts.
But the tunnels look pretty massive. And, you see all these pipes and conduits, and they're well lit. They're not dark. They're well lit. They're just concrete squares.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a nice story. I liked it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's always a good day when you hear about a barfing ghost that haunts a dormitory.
The freshman, no less.
Puke terror. So good.
College.
All right, so I need a refreshment, and so let's take a quick break, and I got a story for you when we come back.
Woohoo! Okay, so we're back. I have my coffee still that I'm still working on, and you have a story.
So I actually only had one story, but, hot off the presses, I have a second story for you as well. It's a short one, but it is really quite cool. So this last week, my brother and his wife and kid were in town, so I was hanging out with them. And his wife told me a scary story that I really enjoyed. So when she was young and when she was a kid living at her parents' house, she lived in a place called Singer's Glen, Virginia, which is apparently a super haunted place. So I'm going to be doing more research into this town area, see if I can get more stories. But she was living there at the time, and so she would normally leave her bedroom door open a crack at night so that the cats could come and go. Like, cats would like to sleep on the bed with her and everything like that.
Sure.
And she kept waking up, and the door would be closed in the morning. She's like, I have no idea what's happening here. Why is this happening?
Probably the cats or something.
Well, or something. She didn't really know. Well, many, many years later, when they had both grown up and moved out of the house, her brother told her a story that explained what was happening to the door.
Oh, Lord.
Apparently, when her brother, who was older than her, woke up one night to go to the bathroom, he was walking down the hall, and as he was getting close to her bedroom, he saw what I can only assume was a ghost. A giant woman all in white standing in the hallway. And then this ghost or white lady looked at him and then put her finger to her lips as if to say, shh. and then she closed the door.
What the fuck?
And he apparently was so terrified, like he like ran back to his room or something. I might be getting some of the details of the story wrong because when I heard this story, there was a lot going on. And then eventually later that night, he finally, was able to make it to the bathroom and go and everything. But he never told her what had happened because he knew she was still going to be living in the house for a long time. Didn't want to scare her. Right. So he waited until they were both old and not living at the house anymore. But apparently a ghost had been closing her door.
That is so weird.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about her brother because I've only met her. And I've met a few members of her family, but she's the only one I've actually had conversations with. So I don't know if he's the type of person to lie about this. And the story being told did not imply to me that this could have been
I don't think so.
A jest or a jape.
I mean, seeing as how she knows her brother pretty well, she probably would have been like, but I don't know, he's kind of a jokester. But she didn't say anything like that. She said it like she believed him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
And then she went on to talk about how creepy the area she lived in was. Like, all these abandoned, like, shacks and sheds just walking distance from her house. And I looked a little bit at the map view of where she used to live, and it seems like a pretty interesting area right next to a big old cemetery, which always bodes well with these kinds of stories.
Well, see, now we just got ghosts drifting in our house from the cemetery is what I'm thinking.
Right. So I'm going to research this area a little bit more, but I thought that was cool. So I just had to throw that little tidbit of a story in.
No, I love it.
All right. So today's story I have is actually inspired by a Reddit post.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it got forwarded to us from one of our friends, and for the life of me, I can't remember who it was.
Oh, no.
I think it was either Lisa or Sean. I don't remember, or someone else, but it got forwarded to us. I apologize. I remember I meant to do credit, and I totally forgot. So someone sent us this post, which is great. So when I saw the post, I immediately bookmarked it. I'm like, I'm going to do this story at a later date. And that date is today. So get ready for another installment of Burke Booze.
Yay.
So a creepy post back in January of 2022 popped up on the Albuquerque subreddit. It was from a user named Ewarden. I mean, it's a username, so I don't know. I don't even care if I'm pronouncing it right. Ewarden, and it was titled Marriott on Louisiana Boulevard.
Ooh, nice.
In the post, they asked, quote, "Anyone have any unusual stories from this place? I don't want to say too much, but I stayed there a couple of days ago, and I'm still dealing with what I saw in the hallway on the 16th floor. I don't believe in ghosts, but I have no other explanation." End quote.
Oh my God.
Now, as soon as I read this, I got chills because I know exactly what happened at that hotel back in the day.
I don't even know what happened. As
an Albuquerque native, I can tell you that this was a huge story back when I was in high school. And you were in high school because we're like about the same age. So
yeah.
And so this would happen when you were here in Albuquerque. You'd already moved to Albuquerque.
I was oblivious to things probably back then. Who knows?
Yeah. So it was a horrible tragedy that occurred over 20 years ago at the Marriott Hotel along Interstate 40 in Louisiana. The massive hotel has been a landmark along the Albuquerque section of highway for many decades. And just before New Year's, Justin Brandon, Melanie Frank, and her two children, Malachi and Micah, had checked into the hotel. A few days later, on January 3rd, 2001, at around 2 p.m. in the afternoon, guests heard a series of gunshots coming from the 17th floor of the hotel. The SWAT team arrived and scoured the entire 411-room hotel, asking guests to stay in their room and keep the doors locked.
Oh, man. This is on the 17th floor, you said?
Oh, yeah, 17th
floor.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to, connect it with the guy who said... No. He said a 16th floor, but, I mean, still.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What the SWAT members found was horrifying. Melanie and both children had all been murdered. They were only 5 years old and 17 months old.
No. Oh, no.
Some initial reports suggested it was a boy and a girl, but later reports said both boys.
Okay.
However, Justin was nowhere to be found. Later that evening, police received a tip from a limousine company about a suspicious client they were giving a ride to. After murdering his family, Justin requested a limousine to take him to the Cities of Gold Casino, which is located in Pewaukee. So for those of you not familiar with New Mexico geography, that's a 79-mile journey from Albuquerque, or 127 kilometers for all our metric friends. That's a huge journey. So he killed his family, got into a limo, and said, take me 79 miles north of here. Although it wasn't mentioned in the article,
so weird.
I assume what tipped off the limo driver was that Justin was wearing the clothes that he killed his family with and was likely covered in blood.
Okay, yeah, wow, okay.
So apparently Justin, before he murdered his family, had broken into his grandmother's house, which was located in Albuquerque, and stole nearly $10,000, explaining where he acquired the money for this expensive limo ride and what he's probably going to do at the casino.
Jesus.
Thanks to the tip, police apprehended Justin as it arrived at the casino. Justin pled guilty and was sentenced to 96 years in prison.
Good.
I couldn't find information as to whether he was still alive or in prison or anything like that, because usually you can do inmate lookups and everything, but believe it or not, the inmate lookups were down at the time, so I couldn't.
Oh, no.
I was trying to see if this guy was still there, if he had died in prison, all the things he deserves.
Sure.
But anyway, as you can assume, whenever we have a horrible tragedy like this, one of such a horrifying nature, the potential for paranormal activity often jumps an exponential amount. So, is the Marriott Hotel haunted? As a local, I can assure you that it definitely has the reputation of being haunted.
Right.
But let's go back to the Reddit post that sparked this whole story. As a quick recap, user eWarden asked if anyone had any stories about this hotel because something strange had happened. One user replied that when they were in high school, they had a DECA competition at the hotel. They were told explicitly not to go to the 17th floor.
Really?
I know, right? Because you know how teens are going to be. You gotta ring them in.
What are you gonna do if you tell a teenager not to do something? Literally gonna do the opposite.
That's pretty much them saying you need to go to the 17th floor and not sleep tonight.
I mean, you don't even have to be a teenager. You tell me not to do something, and I'm going to do it harder.
So, I mean, you called it. They decided to go up there and adventure down the hallways looking for ghosts. Now, they didn't find anything while they were looking around the hallways, but when they got back to the elevators to go, the elevator's doors got stuck. And they couldn't leave the 17th floor like they wanted to for a while. And apparently, this terrified them.
Well, yeah.
Now, another Redditor commented on that and said they were also at a DECA competition in high school, and they also went to the 17th floor, but they were too scared to even leave the elevator once they got to the 17th floor. Oh, so they got
there. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So here's some other comments from the thread. One person said, I delivered Chinese food there once. That place feels like it doesn't want you there. Never saw anything, though. Not eager to return either.
Yeah.
You know what shocked me the most about this? Where the hell did they find Chinese delivery, back in the day, before DoorDash?
Huh, that's fair. Maybe there was, a restaurant at some point that was doing it, and then, unfortunately didn't survive or something.
Because I could totally go for Chinese delivery from a place that tastes good. Yeah. Pre-DoorDash, that didn't exist.
Yeah.
Another user who claims to have stayed there 17 years prior mentioned, yep, I always heard stories of ghosts at this hotel. I stayed as a young teenager and felt really bad vibes the entire time. So creepy. But not all of the people's comments are doom and gloom. One user claimed, we stayed there one night last year. Didn't see anything unusual. So, some people are either not sensitive to it or they were in a good part of the hotel.
Yeah, they could have been on the second floor. That would have been far enough for maybe anything creepy. I don't know.
You've got a wave of
a
influence.
layer, yeah, it starts diminishing.
But what actually happened to eWarden, prompting them to actually post this question? Well, after other users questioned him, it finally all came out. eWarden replied, quote, I'm about to lose my mind over this. I think those kids are still there. As I was walking down to the end of the hall, I had a weird feeling and looked back and saw two little figures down at the other end of the hall. I turned back to get another look, and they disappeared, end quote.
Oh, no.
Now, this story gives me mixed feelings. If eWarden isn't just lying, then seeing something like that would indeed be quite scary. But there's just something a bit to The Shining about that story. I was going to
say, yeah.
And when you also think one of them was supposed to be 17 months old, not necessarily going to be just standing there in the hallway.
Oh, yeah. That's a year and change. Year and a half. I don't know. When do kids start standing up? Yeah,
you can tell we're not parents because we're They start talking at 14, right?
Yeah, right. I don't know. No. I think they can. That sounds right.
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that Eworden didn't mention what they saw in the initial post prompts me to think that maybe they had a bad vibes from the hotel and just wanted to know more. And once someone posted the original news story on this, they fabricated this in order to legitimize their claim. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely believe this person felt an uneasiness or discomfort while at the hotel. What I'm not buying, per se, is his additional details. The reason I think this hotel could be haunted isn't just the horrible nature of the tragedy that occurred there either. It's actually because I've been to this hotel.
Oh, why?
Probably close to 10 years ago, a friend of ours was throwing a New Year's Eve party.
Oh, that's right. We were there.
We've both been there.
Oh, my gosh. I totally forgot.
So a friend of ours was throwing a New Year's Eve gathering and felt that he really wanted to do it in a hotel room. It's the sort of thing you think is cool when you're in your 20s, but by your 30s you realize how douchey it is because of all the other people who paid good money to have a place to sleep, and you're partying and making it really loud. Because we've done it. We've thrown a party in a hotel room before.
We've done it a few times.
And it was a blast, but when you reach 30, you're like, we shouldn't have done that.
I can't wait for that karma to come back to us.
And I even wrote in this, I said, I won't defend it. We've been a part of a few of those, and I'm sure it'll get revisited on us karma style.
There you go.
On a night we really need to rest and some youths decide to have a bash next door.
Youths.
We're gonna eat that.
Oh yeah.
So, but anyway, when we arrived at the hotel, I remember actively contemplating that this was the first time I was ever going to enter this hotel that was so near where I grew up my entire life. As soon as I entered the hotel, I felt uncomfortable. It was very unwelcoming. It had a very unwelcoming atmosphere. Could it have been that the dim lighting and decor choices didn't agree with what I wanted in a hotel? Sure. But could it have also been that I already knew about the murders that had taken place over a decade previously? Also possible. But I will defend myself by saying that at this point, I wasn't enveloped into horror and paranormal stuff. You hadn't ruined my brain yet.
Sure.
Lily.
Not yet.
I was sternly in the ghosts don't exist state of mind at that time. I was like, none of this stuff exists, blah, 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 poo-poo. So I wasn't thinking the place was going to be haunted. But when I walked to this hotel, I was like, this place is creepy and depressing, and I hated it.
That is so wild, because I do remember, for whatever reason, I remember being in the room. Like, I remember conversations, who was there, etc. But I never felt uneasy either. I also didn't know the story, or rather that there was a murder in that Marriott not too long before when we were there.
That was it was about 20 years ago, the murder, and this New Year's was about 10 years ago. So yeah, it was about half the time ago between us. So it was only about 10 years after.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, but after meeting up with some friends in the lobby bar, which was located at the ground floor, we ventured upstairs to the party. And I don't think we were 17 floors up, but we were quite high. It wouldn't surprise me if we were near the 17th floor, judging by what I remember.
We were really high up.
The view from the window. Yeah, we were really high up. As for the party itself, just imagine a room full of 20-something ne'er-do-wells with a bathtub full of ice and beer partying the night away. One person started up a hookah and the music was blaring. Two things that should not be happening in a hotel room. But we did it anyway. Bad decisions.
If there was a ghost, they would have had to have been quite loud to intervene.
To affect us.
Yeah.
Now, you wouldn't think in that particular situation it would be easy to stop thinking about ghosts or creepy hallways, but I didn't stop thinking about that. The entire time I was there, I was feeling uneasy and I felt like oppressed. Like I just didn't like being there.
Really?
It was very uncomfortable.
All right.
I actually am quite fond of hotel rooms in general. I like the feeling of hotel-specific carpets and tailor-made structures. Yeah.
No, I totally get it. I do too. I
even love the way AC units that are just for your hotel sound. I actually am very comfortable.
It's like in that
a clean
white
hotel
noise.
Room.
Yeah.
There's just something about them. So being in hotel rooms, I find very pleasant. It's one of the reasons why if the price is the same between an Airbnb and a hotel, I usually opt for the hotel just because I really like the environment.
Well, it's easier to just to do a hotel in general. Yeah.
And so the whole thing I'm trying to point out is I'm a bit of a hotel junkie, so that's kind of my natural comfort environment. And so for me to not feel comfortable is notable. There's very few hotels I haven't felt comfortable in.
Especially, like you said, it was before you really started to really hear a lot of the ghost stories that I've been sharing with you in the past and ruining you with like horror movies and things like that. So I don't know if it's anything have to do with whatever, but the fact that you felt something before any of, like, still skeptic you were. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty significant in my opinion.
I was getting bad vibes. Like, sometimes you just got this feeling like something bad's going to happen is what I got. I wasn't thinking, oh, there's a ghost here, but I was like, I had that feeling.
Well,
sometimes when you're driving and you just choose not to take one route because you're like, I have a bad feeling. It was kind of like that feeling is what I had.
It could have been very similar, though, because maybe since you weren't in tune with it possibly being a ghost, you just interpret it as being like a bad feeling, like something going to happen, instead of someone being there that has a negative energy, which is kind of like similar in my opinion.
And so right now I'm kind of reevaluating that whole thing because I have a slightly different perspective of it now.
Yeah.
So normally I'm very comfortable in hotel rooms, but not here. I wanted to leave, and we did.
I kind of want to stay there again just to see. I don't know. We won't request the 16th floor if you don't want to, obviously. And that might be weird to do. I don't know. Maybe we can take some friends, not party style, but just investigative style.
That's an expensive investigation.
Yeah, it's an expensive investigation, but I think it might be worth it.
So we already had multiple plans for the night, and I knew we weren't going to be staying at the hotel till midnight, but we did leave much earlier than we had originally planned. We figured we were going to be there a couple hours and drink and party.
Yeah.
But I think we were only there like 15 or 20 minutes. It was a very short amount of time. And
really? I thought we were there for at least, I don't know, an hour?
Maybe. It's so hard to remember. It was a long time ago.
I really think we were there at least an hour.
But I remember it was a very quick visit.
Yeah.
We kind of went in, we said hi. I don't even think I finished my drink before we left. And we were saying, oh, we have somewhere else that we have to be and everything. But I remember very specifically saying, I have a bad feeling. And part of it was everyone's throwing a giant party right here. I was worried that, security would get called and all this stuff. So I'm sure that contributed to it. And I was like, I just want to get out of here before things go bad. And they never did.
Right. I was just along for the ride, I guess. Yeah. I was like, whatever, we can leave if you want. Yeah.
And as far as I know, nothing bad happened that night.
I don't think
everything kind of went fine. And that might have actually been the last time I saw a lot of those friends because,
people
drifting
move,
away, things like that. As for the exact room that the murders took place, I highly doubt it is still rented out. Usually when hotels have a large number of rooms, and this one had over 400, it's common for them to stop renting out rooms with nefarious histories to them. I imagine this hotel is rarely at capacity, so missing one room isn't a problem, and oftentimes those rooms are used for other purposes. Sometimes they're turned into offices, sometimes employees use them as rooms to sleep in between shifts.
Right.
So, normally at the end is when I ask you, would you ever stay at the hotel? And you already answered that. You're like, we have to stay there.
Yeah, we got to do it.
Now, would you stay in the 17th floor?
Yeah.
You would?
I would.
You'd stay at the hotel and the 17th floor?
I mean, I would, but I don't know. I can't tell you how much I'd be sleeping. I think I would just trying to see if anything happened. I mean, I'd probably pass out at some point, but at the very least, I'd try to stay awake as much as possible.
All right. Well, I don't think I want to stay there. And I think the main reason is because my experience there, I've already been there and it wasn't a pleasant one. And I just didn't like it. And so I already got a vibe, and that was way back before I was really believing this stuff, that I think Well, the fact that it affected you, I wouldn't blame you. It could affect you again. And that's just not cool. So let me break it down. So either I was picking up on actual haunted stuff, meaning I don't want to stay there because it's legitimately haunted. Right. Or B, the ambience of the hotel was so bad, I felt like it was haunted, even though it wasn't. Either way, do I want to give money to a hotel that's that badly decorated and designed and everything? Either way, I just don't think I want to stay there. Okay, that's fine with me. I am willing to go there, to go to their lobby bar to get a cocktail and see how it feels again, and then maybe we could decide on staying there. Okay, we'll do a trial. Just go get a cocktail, because I remember already feeling creepy when we went to the bar, because we met our buddy at the bar, and he was there, and I was like, man, this hotel is creepy and dark and ugly. Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it's the best hotel in the world, but yeah. Let's just go get a cocktail there. Assuming they still have a bar. I don't know. Absolutely. Well, and they're building a whole lot of new stuff there. I can tell you about all that later. Okay. But anyway, those are my stories for today. Thank you, Reddit. Thank you, Reddit, again, for scaring the fuck out of us.
Yay. No, I really like this story because it's very close to us and possible.
It had been a while since I'd done a Burke booze.
Yeah.
I actually had a story that continues off of my last two, which took place in 1800s England. I had another one. I was like, no, I'm going to take a break. So next week, I've got one that piggybacks off of my last two stories.
Good old 1800s England.
Apparently, it was a time for horror in England, so I'm going to get back to that. But I wanted to take a break and do some Albuquerque scares.
Yeah.
Just because, we chose to live here and we just bought a house here, so we got to embrace it.
Agreed,
We don't have a barfing ghost, but we got other stuff.
Yeah, we have a dead lizard underneath our house. That's what we have right now. Yeah, so thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the stories as well. I'm sorry that it's been a whole skip a week thing that we've been doing, but we've been really, really stressed.
We've had some of the biggest life-changing events happen in the last 2 months, and I'm actually impressed that we got out as many episodes as we did. So hopefully we'll be able to get on a much better schedule because unless more unexpected things happen, hopefully...
They freaking better not. I'm so done.
Yeah, let's hope we get some calmness. But anyway, I think that brings our episode to a close. Thanks for joining us. And if you have any comments, questions, or personal scary stories you want to share, drop us a line at hotwpodcast@gmail.com. Our next user listener stories episode is coming up quicker than you think.
Yes.
So if you've got any stories, we already have a couple that have been planned or sent to us. So if you want to get yours in this episode, please let us know. We try to post episodes every weekend, and we're usually successful. And cheers to you if you were drinking along with us. And for those of you listening to us because you had far, far too much fun yesterday, and you're having a rough time.
And you're feeling that Barfing Barb vibe.
Feeling like you might be reliving some of that barf from Burford Hall. Oh, man, that's a tongue twister.
Burford.
Barfing Barb from Burford Hall.
Yeah.
Just a lot of Burford. But if you had too much fun and you're suffering today, don't worry, because the best cure for a hangover
is fear.
Bye.
See ya.